Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert are getting worse. They're diving harder and more craven into politics, going after the orange man night after night, non-joke after non-joke. But folks, Jimmy Fallon and NBC are not joking around. They're out of politics. They're done. They're retreating. They're leaving the divisive late night scene, and they want their financial partners to know they mean business. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. We are here to give you the news you need to know. Breaking away from the legacy media, stopping the drive-bys, and folks, we do not intend to die along with the dinosaur going extinct outlets out there who continue to shout out things that are untrue. As we dive in, click the like button and we'll tell you what's going on with Jimmy Fallon, NBC, and a strategy distinctly different than Kimmel and Colbert. He might be in fourth place, but by golly, he's going to stay around and stick with the race. Variety has this one by Jack Dunn about Jimmy Fallon, I believe they pronounce it. Yeah, that's right. Fallon, or is it Fajon? Fallon. Jimmy Fallon, it's Fallon, plans to keep my head down and avoid politics on The Tonight Show. We hit both sides equally. Now, folks, you may have just seen Jimmy Kimmel go on Colbert, and both of them somehow make the national tragedy that we all have gone through be about Kimmel, of course. But Jimmy Fallon is taking a different course. Jimmy Fallon is going to stay out of the whole thing. During a recent interview with CNBC's Squawk on the Street, which is a business show. Why did they put Jimmy Fallon on a business show? We'll get there. The late night frontman said his show has never really been political, and he plans to keep it that way. We hit both sides equally. We try to make everybody laugh. That's really the way our show works, Fallon said. Our monologues are kind of the same thing we've been doing since Johnny Carson was hosting the Tonight Show, so really I just keep my head down and make sure the jokes are funny. I have great writers, and we're just trying to make the best show we possibly can and entertain everybody. Discussion surrounding politics on late night TV has consumed the industry ever since Jimmy Kimmel was temporarily pulled off the air, and they were loading up his stuff in the trucks and the boxes, we believe. So it was not intended, I don't think, to be a temporary thing, but Hollywood had other things to say. After he lied about a national tragedy. ABC, which has hosted Kimmel for 24 seasons, sidelined Jimmy Kimmel, and then it's going to go on to tell us some things that aren't true about how that played out. You all know the truth, though, and that's why we do what we do here, truth with a capital T. What we need to talk about, guys, is that Jimmy Fallon goes on a business show to say, hey, I'm not going to do what Kimmel and Colbert do. I promise you that. I am not going to do what they do, which is really interesting because Fallon doesn't get the ratings that they do. However, culture, in all of your blurriness down there, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to start with you, sir, so that you can bring us the clarity we need. If that's a magic trick that works, I'm going to steal it from you. Culture, is Fallon's game to stay on the air longer than these other guys, ride it out, and then when they're out of town, he and Gutfeld are going to be the guys clowning around for the last of the late night genre. He gets the ratings, he gets half the pizza. What's the play?
No, I think that is the play. Look, he's been playing a really smart game. He's been playing the long con. He's never really been terribly offensive. He's right. He's been keeping his head down for a long time. He may hit, one side or the other, but he seems to do exactly what Carson used to do, which was fairly equal. Yeah, I mean, he brought Trump on. That actually hurt him. He went from first place to fourth place.
Well, hold on, though. That wasn't what hurt him. We got to be clear about this. And, no, you're actually right. I'm going to clarify that for people who don't understand.
Okay, all right.
So he had Trump on. He messed up Trump's hair. He did great. Yeah. People loved him for it, and it humanized Trump. Then he was forced, basically, to dump that strategy by the Hollyweird elites who said, you're not going to do that, buddy. You're not going to do that. Vash, get us that chart again. I know you've got it at the ready. Fallon, after he conceded to the Hollyweirds and said, Trump's, evil, I tell you.
Evil.
That's right. Once he did that, that's what destroyed him, culture.
Yeah, well, sure. But I guess ultimately Trump destroyed him. And that seems to happen to most people on that particular side of the equation. But honestly, I will say he's been fairly down the middle and he's despised for it. I mean, a lot of people call him out for that. I mean, even the trades went after him for this statement that he made. That, he tries to hit both sides. To me, it doesn't matter because the point of the show like The Tonight Show or any other late night not quite variety show is to make you laugh before you fall asleep. Forget the day. And I think that's ultimately what everybody else forgot, except for Gutfeld. Gutfeld will make you bust a gut. And then actually, before he even makes you bust a gut, on the 5, he makes you really not like that Tarlov lady. But other than that, I can't throw shade at Jimmy because he just wants to be liked. I mean, that's his whole persona. He's just like, I want to be a likable guy. I want to be a fun guy.
On SNL, his job was to laugh when everybody else was doing real jokes.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to postulate. It's that what happened was he actually started to tank right around when he started to identify with all the other late night guys. That's when you saw it in the ratings there, but when he started to team up with them, that's when you really saw people be like, no, because he was the standout. Everybody liked him. He didn't get into any of that stuff.
Yeah, let's go to that. Let's prove that real quick. So, Steve, here's the deal. Look at where the Tonight Show was compared to these other shows. And what happened is that the formula of the Tonight Show and what Jimmy Fallon was all about and what Leno was all about, all the Hollyweirds said, no, you're going to be like Kimmel and you're going to be like the Late Show. You have to be. We're going to pressure. This is going to be what works. And the Tonight Show did it, and look what happened. It went from being 1.54, which is double what Jimmy Kimmel and the Late Show ever did, to now being behind those two shows because it tried to be them, but he can't be them because he's not venomous.
Do you think the fact that he was so creative coming into the job was what boosted him to the highest of heights? Then go ahead.
No, I think in connection with that, one of the things one of the reasons why Jimmy had Fallon had such appeal was because of, yes, the creativity, but also the simplicity behind it. I think of the fact that so many youth groups tried to replicate his games and the things that he was doing.
That's true, yeah.
So like
the lip sync battle and stuff like that.
All of that stuff. He tapped into, if Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, was around when TikTok really kind of blew up and he launched at the same time, Jimmy Kimmel's show would have just been like a premier TikTok kind of format.
Fallon.
Right?
If you say Kimmel one more time in place of Fallon.
I'm sorry.
Just you and your Canadian sorries aren't going to cut it this time. Get with the right Jimmy.
Okay. And just every time, so for Jonas or whoever's editing, they could just put Fallon over top.
Pick the right Jimmy, Steve.
Sorry. There's no creativity in late night anymore of pro. So that's all I could say. So they're just redundancies.
No, but you're right. I mean, I saw a lot of people try to imitate that. Even on YouTube, people were stealing his bits, and I was thinking, you know what? He really does connect with his audience, and then he didn't anymore. And you're right. I think you're right. I think bringing in those other names and trying to create a brotherhood, brotherhood. Or whatever they want to call it, around we're all the same late night guys, and I'm like, that's terrible. The differentiation is what builds you up.
Yeah, remember it was Letterman and Leno slugging it out against. They hated each other. No, they were trying to win. They were trying to win. It was actual competition. I don't know what's going on with these guys who they've decided that TDS is more important than being the best in late night. Hey, Fake Wizard, here's something I'm thinking about with Jimmy Fallon, and you tell me if I've got this one.
Ooh, there you go.
With Jimmy, I'm kind of thinking that he wants to keep his head down and out of politics because they don't want to mess with the FCC anymore. They're like, you know what? Let's not fight the FCC. Let's keep our audience, maybe even grow it a little bit after this whole national tragedy thing and the way these other guys responded. We're not going to do that. And then when they're off the air in a year, look at us. We'll just win, baby. We'll just win. And we don't have to do this mess.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon coming out now of all times to say, oh, well, we don't target any one group, but there was a good chunk of time for years, where he did. And he was the same. You turn on any of those late night channels and they were all just Trump bad, Orange Man bad, Trump bad. It was the same thing over and over. So, and that is where the decline in their ratings really comes from. Everybody knows you're going to turn on the channel. It's going to not be funny and it's going to be the same thing. But Fallon has a problem that I don't know if these other guys have. and it's his insincerity. And
Ooh.
everybody understands that Fallon is acting 100% of the time, and I think viewers have seen through it.
Who's less sincere, Wizard? Who's less sincere? Is it Jimmy Fallon or Emma Watson?
Oh, I think Jimmy Fallon is more insincere than Emma. I think Emma Watson is sincere. She's just changing her mind as time goes on. Jimmy Fallon has been an act since he was on SNL, and it's an act all the way now. I tell you, I'm a fake wizard. Jimmy Fallon is it's not the real Jimmy Fallon. And I think audiences have figured that out and they understand that. And then there's the other stories coming out that he's really not a nice guy. And I think that has played into it. And would you have any interest in giving Jimmy Fallon a shot? I think most audiences have made up their minds already and they're done.
So what's funny about this, the Wizard?
When did those stories come out though that he's not a nice guy? Because those stories didn't come out in the last.
You've popped the bubble that Steve had. Steve loved Jimmy Fallon, and you came on here and just ruined the dreams. The dreams.
No, for real though. Think about when these stories about Jimmy Fallon being a nasty character. When did they start? After he started hanging out with these bozos and associating with the guys that were all harping on the other side, right?
The stories are all about him being
up until that point.
To his staff.
He was the guy that everyone would would way rather have coffee out with than any of the.
I blame this on Ellen DeGeneres and Candace Owens. They've teamed up somehow to take down Jimmy Fallon.
And I'm not trying to say this as like a character assassination. I'm just from an audience member's perspective.
This is libel.
The American audience has already made up their mind on late night television. So trying to bring that back now, I think everything with Kimmel actually stained late night TV more. I think it stained all of them. I think that's what we're going to see ramifications of this in the long run. I mean, everybody tuned into Kimmel, but those ratings, as you guys have covered, have dropped off the planet. And Fallon's not going to make a comeback here. Maybe with his new show, he makes some kind of a comeback there, but it's going to take a lot to get Americans to tune into Jimmy Fallon.
All right, Wiz, let me ask this then. Maybe the play is, you've actually convinced me. Maybe the play is, yeah, he's bad. Yeah, people don't really like him anymore, but he's not as bad as those two other guys. So
I would agree with that.
Can I just point something out that I think is weird?
Weird.
About
me personally or Jimmy Fallon?
No. I was going to say Kimmel, but Fallon's fine. The question is, Kimmel's got a new game show host kind of a gig, right? Am I right?
Nobody watched him. Nobody watched Kimmel. He had 1/5 the ratings of Regis Philbin on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and they still gave him a little Emmy trophy for failing so hard. Yeah,
and so Fallon is the perfect game host. I mean, he is. It's why Steve and I were talking about all the things he created. I just feel like Family Game Night. This guy is a natural for a show that's called Family Game Night, right?
There you go.
I feel that
youth group games revisited.
There you go.
I want to bring up the fact that this photo is circling around on social media and everything. It's like, hi, Donald, hey, look, we have a big crowd and everything like that. But I find this very interesting because we talk about the Brotherhood of Late Night. However, in this shot right here, Jimmy Fallon is not in it. With Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel. Now, what I find interesting is like Pro said at the top of the show, Jimmy Fallon makes these statements on a business program like CNBC. I think it's very clear that he is trying to separate himself from the other late night hosts and go, we're not like this. Trust us, folks. And he's not telling that necessarily the audience. He's telling it to shareholders and people who invested in the podcast and people. Yeah.
Business show. You're right. Yeah.
And just try to say listen, we are very, very different. Now, I do question that, of course. I mean, how many conservative people has he had in the show? I don't know. Is it any more or less than Jimmy Kimmel?
Well, he had Gutfeld. He had Gutfeld, and he got the best ratings he'd had in forever. And then he got just slammed by the other late night guys. And some people came on his show and tried to mock him, and it was really uncomfortable for having Gutfeld on. But Ron, that's the way to go. Get these guys who they don't have to be right wing like Gutfeld. They can be, and they should be sometimes. But get some centrist people who just want to have a fun time. Go back to the Johnny Carson model of, you know what? Get out here, have a Don Rickles kind of moment. rip some jokes, have some fun, drink some drinks, and send people to bed.
Well, I mean, you've got to do all that, but can you put the chart up again when Fallon had high ratings and then started to go down?
Chart is on the way, sir. Chart is on the way. Vash, put it on the screen.
Okay, so I'm looking at the chart, right? And 15, what was it? It was 14-15 had a really, really high year, and then started to slip a little bit, but really it was after 17. After 17, he really, really slipped. Do you know what else correlated with 2017? That's when his horrible ride opened at Universal Studios.
Oh man!
I'm just saying it. But if Fallon wants to redeem himself, I think that he does, in fact, have to work on the public perception of his sincerity. Fake Wizard is absolutely correct about that, because when you watch the show, Fallon comes across as likable, but does he come across as real or fake? And you want to have that feeling of sincerity. You want to feel like you could actually go up, like if you passed Jimmy Fallon on the street, you could shake his hand and he'd be cordial to you. He'd be really, really nice. He wouldn't be like Harrison Ford when he was walking around New York City the other day. He'd be much nicer than
what
that.
What are you talking about? Was Harrison Ford mean in New York? Was he trying to be like a New Yorker? He's a grumpy man.
He's going around. He was very Red Hulkish. But yeah, Jimmy, like I would much prefer to watch the Johnny Carson model. And I think that the problem with Jimmy Fallon is he wants to be like Carson, but Carson was sincere. Carson did pull that off, and Jimmy Fallon has a hard time pulling that off, and he needs to.
There you go. Well, one thing he's going to pull off is politics. The interview with who?
The interview with the Rizzler. You go watch that episode with Jimmy Fallon. That's the real Jimmy Fallon. He's very awkward when he doesn't know who he's actually talking to. He's a little uneasy, and he's just coming off as super fake, and that's the real guy.
Well,
and
that's
why a
why
lot of people caught on to that.
When he did the Greg Gutfeld interview and Gutfeld didn't stick to the script, that also came across like Fallon was. Yeah, he was really nervous, real fidgety. Like, what do I do? This guy's actually talking like a normal person with me.
Well, but that made him kind of likable. Yeah, like it's seriously, it's like hey, this really super neurotic dude is like interviewing this incredibly funny guy, and it felt like exactly what it needed to be, and that's when Fallon is at his best.
Oh, don't you do it, Steve?
I know. It's contagious. I'm just saying, but it's just I feel like in 14-15, as Ron pointed out.
Hang on a second. Hey, are you good, Mr. History? Are you going to go back to 14-15 in the history of late night, back before Christopher Columbus?
No. 2014-2015. Okay. Anyway, that was seriously, that's where the spike was, and it was there for a reason. He had all of his games going. He had this unique energy. He got buy-in from his guests. His guests probably did their pre-interview and probably heard from Jimmy's staff, hey, he's going to want you to do this game, and this game, you're going to win, but he's going to want you to do this game, and it's going to be a dance off, or it's going to be a lip sync battle, or it's going to be like some kind of hopscotch thing, or whatever it was, right? That spike was because of that level of intensity and effort and just general foment of a good time, right? He was fomenting a good time. And you don't get that anymore. He kind of tapered off. He tapered off for a lot of different reasons, probably more because of a political cycle, but he was not only leading in ratings, he was leading in earnings. And what was the last time you could say that about a late night show? I mean, and that's why I think he's got good energy for a game show. Jimmy Kimmel, no, and Colbert, never. Colbert guy sounds like a really bad toothpaste.
The only thing that I'll wrap up my thoughts on the Fallon topic when it comes to the whole him being awkward. If you look at most stars and people that are in front of a camera, they're so used to being overproduced, right? And so these guys, they don't talk well with people. They don't do what we do. they're all so heavily scripted. They're so used to being presented things. And so they kind of forget what it's like to just talk with people in this regard. And so that's why I lean into what Culture's saying. And it is a thing that will actually, I mean, obviously it's going to rub some people the wrong way, because it kind of brings your star to being that personal, real human being.
Yeah.
And so when you see someone like Tom Cruise,
look at this guy up here.
I know, he's very cool. I know, he's so cool. I know.
Wizard, you are so passionate about what Steve is saying. What has got you so passionate?
He just hates. He just hates. He's a hateful, spiteful person.
Who, Fallon or Wizard? What are you talking about?
Wizard. Wizard is bitter. He's the bitter wizard. He's jealous of Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe I would give me that kind of budget in Universal money. Oh my gosh, let's do it. I'm down.
Listen, I will happily campaign for Fake Wizard to replace either Colbert or Kimmel for half the budget. Folks, it's time to bid you adieu, but we hope that you will help us anew, and that is, we're only asking you click that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. And oh, by the way, have you gone the way of thatparkplace.com? www.thatparkplace.com. It's the website that if you're not yet bookmarked to, well, you should be. A bastion of truth and knowledge when it comes to entertainment and everything that's going on. Go check it out today, folks. We would love to have you over there as well. All right, we are getting ready to head out, but do not fret, for we will put out 4 more videos tomorrow, so long as the good Lord allows. And we believe that probably, just might, happen. All right, until the next time we get to share time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
So I give them cannonball. Yeah.
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.